Hi guys, and welcome to another kit review. Okay, so today we're having a look at a kit from Miniart, as you can tell. It is in 1/35 scale and it is their European Tramcar, Straßenbahn Triebwagen 641 with crew and passengers. Okay, so this kit came out in 2016 and the kit number is 38009, and it also includes passengers and crew, street accessories, and also a base. Now, the crew kit came out separately in 2016, and that's kit number 38007. The sitting passengers is also available as a separate kit. That's 38006, and that came out in 2014. You get the street accessories kit, which is currently out of production, and the kit number was 35530. That came out in 2010. And you also get this part. This here is your street section with tram lines. Came out in 2010, and the kit number on that is 36040. So literally in this box you get 5 separate kits: the tram, passengers, crew, street accessories, and the street section. Okay, so that's fairly hefty, quite a heavy box. There's about 840 parts or something like that in this kit, so there's a lot to it. All right, so let's have a look at the rest of the box and then we'll carry on. All right, so on the side, usual Ukrainian, Russian, English, plus the warnings, 14 plus. $80.99 is the regular price, thereabouts, between $80 and $100 in Australia for this kit. Okay, copyright 2019 as it says. On the other side you have 10 different colors for this tram. Right, the majority are German trams from different cities, but there are a couple of variations. I think these two here are Belgium. So literally, do your research. I'm pretty sure you could use this in almost any European, especially any German city that have trams, including Aachen, etc. Okay, so that's the box. Really nice artwork. All right, so let's have a look and see what's inside. So I have already been inside this box, and there's the instructions as usual. Color ends. Get rid of plastic bags. Fairly comprehensive decals. We'll have a look at those shortly. And as you can see, an entire box of sprues, which came in one bag. The clears were packed in a separate bag within this, but the whole thing came in one bag. And shout out to Miniart's workers, guys and gals. Brilliant job fitting that wall in one bag. Okay, so I'll put this aside and we'll have a look at the instructions very shortly. Okay, so let's have a look at the instructions. As usual for Miniart, beautiful color, interior pages as well. Okay, does give you a brief detail, highly detailed model, etc. It does say 810 parts. I did say 840, so apologies there. Still, 810 parts is a lot, and this would definitely be a moderate to experienced modeler kit. Okay, there's a lot of small parts, a lot of intensive painting on this kit as well. Okay, so let's have a look. On the inside, you've got your colors for the different trams. This is just Europe, 1912 to 32. Nuremberg, two colors, two advertising. Germany, 1930 to the 50s. So yes, this tram was used up until the 50s. Okay. Again, Germany, 1930, 1938. This is a service tram car, so not necessarily a passenger car. All right, 1938 to 45. And on the back, we've got 2 trams from Belgium, from Liège. Different advertising. One from Germany, 1930 to 40s. And on the inside, we have got your color callouts and assembly instructions for your passengers and crew. All of your colors for the tram and also for the crew and the street accessories. And they are in Ammo MiG, Humbrol, Mr. Color, Tested, Vallejo. This is your Ukrainian and English names for those particular colors. All right, and also full color and really nice definition advertising posters and also billboards for the side of the tram. Really nice, okay? And you do have a fair choice to deal with. All right, so I'll give you a shot of that anyway so you get a really good look. Let's have a look and see how you build this thing. All right, so just to scare you, this page here, that is your sprue layout. 810 parts and lots of small parts, okay? So deep breath and a lot of planning when it comes to building this one. All right, so let's have a look and see where we start. So what we have here is the base of the tram. All the different fittings that are going on, okay? Safety rails, etc. As you can tell, that's the suspension for the Bogey, right? So this is the base, and each section has a lot of parts and would probably require painting in sections so that you get every single part. Okay, so that's fairly comprehensive and we're already up to part 6. Then we go over, more parts for the bottom, okay? You have 2 bottom halves that go together to make the full length. All right, then we get to the sides with the windows, and there is a lot of clear parts in this kit. So literally, if you're like me and you tend to get fingerprints on the clears, extreme care. Do that all the time, no matter how careful I am. I always end up putting a fingerprint on something. Yes, that's the joys of getting old, I think. Anyway, these are the doors, internals. Seats go on the inside, sides go on. So as I said, this will need painting as you go. All right, because once you put the sides on, internal and these internal compartment doors, it will be very difficult to paint the seats, etc. All right, so it is literally going to be planned and painted as you go, which is going to be challenging, but not impossible. Okay, so let's have a look. So as you can see, the sides are on, internal partitions are going on. This section here is the controllers, and it's one on each end, of course, because it's a tram, it can go backwards or forwards. This is the front with more clear parts. Headlight, okay, side doors going on, more clear. So you do have quite a detailed interior, undercarriage and ends. So there is interior doors, so you can have these doors open or closed as you like, and also exterior doors, okay, which can be open or closed depending on how you want it. But by this stage you'd probably want to have most of that interior painted up, and especially the interior walls. So that's challenging in itself. Then we get to the roof, okay. So you already have decals and things that need to go on. If you're going to put advertising inside this tram, okay, so you'll need to put some advertising posters somewhere, and there are spaces in there for it. Okay, so literally you're already up to the roof. This is the roof edges. This is the main roof section, okay, and that will need to be painted up. You have lights, which are what this is here. These are your lights, and then the whole thing goes together on top. And if you were clever, you could almost work out a way of putting LEDs in this kit. It'd be a lot of work, but I think it would be spectacular to have this lit up, especially front and back instruments for the driver. and the internal lights. So yeah, something for the clever ones to do. Okay, and then we get to the Bogey. So the Bogey again has got a lot of parts to it. Suspension areas, wheels, etc. Okay, and you need to make 2 of these and 2 of those. So there's a lot of small parts and a lot of work in this. Right, Bogey section is one of the most complex, and unfortunately you won't see it because it's covered up by the body of the tram, but it is really highly detailed. Okay, so that would be something that you'd build separately, paint up, get it ready, make sure this is all painted and detailed underneath, and pop it all together. Okay, and that's already up to step 46, right? Like I said, 810 parts, there's a lot to it. Then we get to the top, which is your pantographs, okay? And even the pantograph itself has pantograph springs on it, etc. It is quite complex. All right, so you're looking at probably a dozen parts just for the pantograph area itself. Top of the tram, fittings and rails going on sides near the doors, okay, and that's it. So the tram is built within 49 steps, but it is quite complex. There's a lot to it. And then we just get to the street accessories, which is the wire poles for the tram. You've got 2 different types, very fancy bracket and a straight bracket. Okay, the wire and stuff you'll have to make yourself, work that one out. Okay, and then this is just your street accessories, which can be placed or not placed on the actual roadbed itself. And that's it, 59 steps, and the tram and the road base with the accessories is all done. And then, like I said, this is your assembly and painting instructions for the, pardon me, for the crew and the passengers. All right, so that's the instructions. Put those aside. Let's have a look at the decals. Here we go. Very complex. Really nice definition, very sharp. Tiergarten, Marktplatz, Hauptbahnhof, plus all the different numbers. And these are your different operating companies for the trams. Okay, so it wasn't a unified single company. There were different companies in the same city, basically. So do your research, internet, okay? Work it out, perhaps even do your own customizing. Right, but they're really nice and very comprehensive, and they will go well with all those advertising billboards. All right, so that's the instructions. In a second, we'll have a look at the multitude of sprues. Okay, so let's have a look at the multitude of sprues and parts. We'll start off with something simple. This is your road base with the tram tracks. This is something that you'd probably want to have handy on the bench, ready to be able to fit your Bogey wheels in, make sure they're nice and true. This is vacuum formed, and for those who've never dealt with this, I'll show you things like this. There's a pip there, there, and also down here. Okay, and there's a few more over here. If you can see them, that's normal vacuum forming. These little bumps, they will just need to be cleaned up before painting. Just sand it down, not too hard because this is quite thin. All right, clean that up first. All right, and that will give you a good start and a good base to lay the model out as you construct it, because it's going to take quite a while to construct it. Right, speaking of the Bogey, let's have a look. Okay, so what we have here is 1, 2, 4 sprues with the wheels on. Plus this is your pantograph. So I'll put these ones away and we'll have a look at this. So this is your pantograph. There's your pantograph spring. Okay, really nice detail. All right, that's going to be tricky to get off without breaking, but it's beautiful detail. All right, so I like that. It's good detail. There's your wheels, spokes. These are all the different parts, handles, etc. Springs. So the handles, etc. are for the exterior of the tram. They're your grab handles for the doors, etc. Okay, these are just a couple of sections for the actual bogie itself. Really nicely done. Minimum flash. And not much cleanup on the mold lines. So that I like. And as I said, you've got 4 of these and 1 of those. Okay, so that's the wheels. Next part of the bogie is 2 of these. Okay, so I'll put this one aside. And as you can see, this is the frame for the wheels of the bogie itself. Okay, this is running alongside the tram to stop people and things from going underneath. And those are your lights for inside. So this is a mix of bogie parts and also tram parts, but most of this is set for the underneath of the tram, and it is quite comprehensive. The good thing is that a lot of the connection points on the sprue are quite small. The lights will be tricky to get off without breaking the arms, which is a shame, but with care you should be able to do it. Really nice bolt detail. So there's really nice detail on the bogie. Unfortunately, you won't see most of it, but at least you'll know it's there, unless of course you roll this tram on its side. Okay, so that's the main frame of the bogie. We haven't finished with it yet. Now you have 2 of these. Okay, so I'll put this one aside. And there are a lot of sprues in this. I think there's something like, including the passengers, etc., almost 35, 40 sprues. There's a lot in this. Okay, so what you've got here, these are your motors for the bogie. Okay, frames. This is basically, I suppose you call it, to stop things from falling underneath the tram, like passengers, dogs, cars, that kind of thing. Okay, so it is really nicely molded. As I said, there's no flash on this. It's a really recent kit, and I must admit, when it comes to building these kits, Miniart's really good for its vehicles. Okay, not so crash hot on its people, but we'll have a look at those shortly. But vehicles and things, the detail is quite spectacular. Tricky to get these sections off without damaging them, but have a look at how complex they are. All right, so as I said, moderate to experienced modeler for this one. All right, there's a lot of small parts and a lot of sprue joins. That's the only way to get the detail So it will take a lot of care to get this stuff off without destroying it. But the detail is, you know, things that you won't see, it's still there. Okay, so I am impressed with this. All right, so that's the Bogey. All right, so let's have a look at the body. All right, so again, 2 sprues. Throw one away. Well, no, you know what I mean. Okay, so what you have here is the bottom, side, top, and the roof. Okay, so as I said, this will be constructed in sections, and each section will need to be painted because this is a side and you've got an inside and an outside, so you'll want to make sure it's all painted up before you glue it all together and you can't get to anything. Really nice. Okay, really nicely well done flooring that will come up really well with a nice wash on it. That's the roof sides and the roof. Fairly smooth, but a lot of parts go on there. There's the side of the tram. Okay, there are some sections down the bottom here. So again, there's a lot of connection points, but this is to ensure that this is all nice and straight and there are no problems. So let's have a look at the other side. Turn that around. So that's the inside of your tram, but the seat goes against that. Okay, but it will still need to be painted around the windows. This is the bottom, so you won't see much of that. Again, it will need to be painted. The inside of the roof will also need to be painted. Okay, so you'll have to paint this and this, otherwise it's just going to look really strange. So like I said, this tram will need painting all the way through. It's not a tank, unfortunately, so you just can't paint it all at once. It's going to have to be painted in sections. All right, so that's the roof. Let's have a look at the insides. And again, 2 sprues. Okay, so I'll put this one aside. This is your internal bulkheads. Okay, so this is the back. Again, they'll need to be painted on both sides. And you do have doors, etc., that go in there. Okay, there's your seats. So again, really nice wooden slat detail that will come up with a really good wash. Have a look at that. Look at the joins. So they're quite small where it's joined to the sprue, but it will take a lot of care to get off without destroying this. Okay, there's some very, very fine pieces. All right, there's 5 joins on that to the sprue. Same for here. Okay, so that's really delicate. Will need a lot of work. Okay, this is your front here. This is the driver's controls, accessories, etc. Little hatch there. So some very fine details, but nicely molded. There's a nice door. Okay, so internet references, if you can find them, for the interior colors, or just go by what the instructions say. But yes, everything needs to be painted first. Okay, so that's your interior bulkheads in your seats. So the last sprue for the actual tram is this one. And there's two of these, so I'll throw that one away. And as you can see, it is the front of the tram, the headlight. These are your entry doors, okay? They've got some nice detail on them as well. Suspension parts are underneath. This is the sides here. Okay, so I'll turn it over. That's interior, but there is a control panel box that goes in front of that. The doors go together. You've got internal and external parts of the doors. Alright, so once they're together, they'll need to be painted. Read the instructions carefully, because I'm not sure if the clear parts actually go in first or last. So you'll have to work that out as you go, whether you can paint it up and then put the clears in, or have to put the clears in and then mask it all. Alright, so like I said, over 800 parts, 35-40 sprues. There is a lot to this particular kit. Okay. And last but not least, as far as the tram's concerned, the important stuff. Okay. The clear parts. And you do have 1, 2, 3, 4 main sprues for clears, plus 2 secondaries. Alright, so let's have a look. And as you can see, they're beautiful. There's a bit of dust on them, but no scratches. Okay, and they're really, really nice and clear and sharp. And there's a lot of clear in this. Okay, let's have a look. So on this part alone, not counting the headlight, you've got 4, 9, 10 clear parts, and there's 4 of those. Okay, so that's 40 plus 2 of these. So literally you have 48 clear parts to deal with in this kit. So a lot of care will be required. It's going to have to be a good day for me so I don't get too many finger marks on this beautiful clear plastic. Alright, so that's the tram in its entirety. So let's have a look at what else you get with this kit. So what you get is street accessories. Alright, so you get 4 sprues of those. Some of this we will not use, okay? But this is the side of a seat, railing, drain cover, and bollards. Okay, so you can use those anywhere. You don't necessarily have to use those in this kit. You also get these, 2 of these, which are the accessories for the street section. This is your pole. Okay, you get 2 types of bracket for the wires. This is a hanging light, which is not part of this kit. Miniart tends to use this on all its street sections, dioramas, etc. So you can use that in another diorama somewhere. But it's really nicely detailed. Very little flash. That will be tricky to get off without damaging, but I think having a fancy bracket for your wiring would just add something to this particular kit display. Okay, like I said, you've got 2 of those. Okay, so the only 2 sprues I have left to show you are this one, which is your tram crew. Okay, this has tram crew plus a couple of passengers, and let's start by having a look at their faces. Oh, sorry. So there you go. That gentleman's got a really nicely defined face. Really nice details. He's holding his hat in apology. This is one of your tram crew. He would be the driver, I think. So there is a bit of cleanup required around the mold lines, but not too much flash on these guys. You do get a suitcase, it looks like, and a gentleman with separate coats, so that's really nice. Let's turn this one around because this is your conductress, I think. Yes, or conductor. Really nice face details. Really nice detail on the bag and the coin change, so that's really nice. And yeah, some really beautiful details. So this is, oops, sorry, that went out of focus. Really sharp details on these and a little bit of cleanup, but not too bad. I have actually seen worse. Okay, so that's the crew and a couple of passengers. And the only other one is the sitting passengers. Okay, so as I said, the crew, the sitting passengers, the street accessories, and the street itself are all separate kits combined with the tram to make 5 kits in one. And the detail is really nice. There is a bit of cleanup around things like hats, etc., and mold lines, but the facial details, really nicely done. Really well done, actually. I do like those. That old gentleman with his cane. The cane will be tricky to get off because it's joined by 3. But let's turn this one around. Oops, sorry, she's upside down. There you go. Okay, so that's not too bad. The detail on the faces and the clothing is really quite sharp and much better than I've seen on quite a few kits. One thing I've noticed about female faces in a lot of kits is they look very masculine, even Miniart kits. Okay, so these ones are a vast improvement. Okay, and that's it, guys. That is the last sprue. As I said, there's a lot to this. There is a lot in this kit overall. And there you have it. That's Miniart's European Tramcar. Runs from between $80 and $100 Australian when they're available. Okay, but literally good value for money, because it is, as I said, 5 kits in one. Okay, and you can definitely use these sitting civilians, the street accessories, in other dioramas. Alright, so that's the end of this one. I hope you got something from this review, and I'd just like to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and until next time, take it easy, and I'll see you later.